Welcome to Sportsline, brought to you by Ace Hardware, New Kensington, AKLC Studios in Leechburg, Arnold Furniture, 5th Avenue, Buffalo Bills, New Kensington, Fazio's Deli and Meats in Arnold, Highland Tire, Toronto, Natrona Heights, Mattio's Pizza and Subs, Brackenridge Heights, Resevich Family Funeral Homes, Lower Burl in Arnold, 380 Discount Warehouse, Murraysville, Tower Auto in Blawnox, and Westmoreland Insurance Services of New Kensington.
Everybody, welcome to Sportsline tonight for Monday night, the 21st of April, I believe, the day after Easter, Easter Monday. Mike Pavlik here. George Guido is along with us tonight. Bob has the night off. Bob called us a couple weeks ago, said he's going to take a few nights off here as he's got other things going on. We know he's finishing up book number 2, so he's into that right now, taking care of some things there. But George, it's a very summer-like today out there.
Oh, it's great. It's about time.
It's going to be 50 on Wednesday, by the way. It's just, we get up to about 70, a front comes through, drops us down, and then we take 3-4 days to build back up.
Well, I never thought, 2 months ago how much I'd enjoy hearing it was going to be 50 degrees.
Right, and I'm not even complaining about the little respites that we have in the nice weather here in April, because I guess we'll take it. 724-236-0430 is the number if you're watching us streaming live on a Monday night. Again, if you're watching on Thursday, jot that down and give us a call on Monday night at 6 o'clock, and we will get to you. We have callers on the line right now. We have callers on the line because there's plenty to talk about.
Oh, you better believe it. Especially the Pirates, 3 weeks into the season, are 6 games out of first place.
That's hard to do.
Already. It's not easy to do. You're right. And the Penguins, I feared this series when everyone was saying, "Oh, I hope we get to play Columbus the first round instead of Detroit or Philadelphia." Oh, and now you see what happens. And I think Columbus now has the momentum. And I don't know how to handle this. You being a Yankees fan, you were experienced at the most talented team in the sport getting a first-round dismissal in the playoffs.
Oh!
And this could happen with the Penguins. The best talent in hockey, they could be playing golf toward the end of next week.
I'll tell you what, the Bruins could have this happen to them, too, against Detroit. Here's the thing now about the hockey playoffs, and for the most part the basketball playoffs, too, is that lousy teams don't make the playoffs anymore. Yeah. And there were enough teams now that if you get down to the 8 seeds in both conferences, you look at a Columbus, Detroit in the Eastern Conference, or you go to Dallas. Dallas is a pretty good hockey team.
Right.
They may lose to Anaheim, but they're pretty good. I mean, only Atlanta in the NBA is really a lousy team. And there's a legitimate chance Atlanta's going to beat Indiana, but that's for other reasons that don't have anything to do with Atlanta right now.
Playoff seeding, yeah.
Right, that has more to do with Indiana. It's just completely tanked it. But you're going to play a team that it is, and the thing about it, and we talked about this before too, is that those teams that get in at the end have to be playing their best hockey at the end just to get in, because they're still trying to win that last spot. Everybody, this year more than most, everybody else kind of was sitting around waiting for the playoffs to begin, and you're not playing and you're not hitting on all cylinders. You're resting guys, and we said it here last week. It's going to take them some time to get to the point where they're playing decent hockey, and I thought it was going to take more than 4 or 5 games. Now the problem is that you'd like them to be able to win a series and win it in about 6 and be playing good hockey by the time they got to there. But if they lose tonight, they're in a little bit of trouble, I think. I wouldn't be worried until after tonight. There's one thing about young teams, first time in, and really this group's first time in for Columbus. Their first time in, coming home for that first playoff game at home, and there's a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of times that it's difficult for them. And even the Islanders last year, the same thing happened to the Islanders against the Pens. So tonight's going to be very, very interesting, and I'm not willing to give up the ghost on the Penguins yet, but I think there's reasons for concern. And if they aren't able to pull this out, I think the heads are going to roll.
Well, you would have to believe so. Hey, we do want to tell you about our rules and regulations if you are unfamiliar with our show. This is what you have to remember. You can win a prize every other week per household. And you can win a Grand Salami Prize or the Mystery Profile only once in a calendar month. And you can try the Mystery Profile just once in a calendar month. whether you succeed or not. Now, our multiple choice questions, 15 seconds you have to gather yourself for the right answer, and the grand salami is 20 seconds, and of course we go clue by clue for the mystery profile. First-time callers, 2 or more prizes with the correct answer. And if you haven't called us in a year, we consider you a first-time caller to try to get you back in the groove here. Don't forget Bob Tattern's website, doubledribblebob.com. And of course, Bob's radio show, Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. on WAVL 910 on your AM dial. A lot of interesting sports trivia and nostalgia.
For those of you that are watching this on Monday, and we are your official pregame show for both the Penguins and the Pirates tonight. The Penguin game is en route tonight. The Pirates are on ESPN against Cincinnati, so that would be your vehicle to see the Bucco game tonight if you want to do some flipping. And there's plenty to watch. It's been crazy here the last week or so, and it'll stay that way as long as the Penguins stay involved in things. And I hope it gets crazy. Yeah, I'm such a big fan of hockey playoffs, and I wait for this. A lot of people, I know our buddy Mike Choma says his high holidays are the NCAA basketball playoffs. These are mine right here. Mm-hmm. My high holidays are the hockey playoffs, and then in October, that month of baseball, I think is terrific. So I root for that. But we'll see tonight. The one thing the Penguins have going for them, George, I think, is that in Columbus, that it really hasn't been a road situation for them. They have a lot of fans that go to the games out there, and now I'm assuming that the tickets were sold prior to the folks knowing that Pittsburgh was going to be the opponent, but I got a feeling that a lot of Penguin fans got in on that anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see how that goes out there in the state capital of Ohio. So we have callers lined up. We want to get to you. We're going to take our first break right now. We will do that, and we'll come back with our first caller right after this.
Since 1914, the local area has relied on the Resevich family of funeral homes in deepest times of need. The Resevich family is the oldest established name in the funeral profession in the AK Valley, now 100 years strong and still doing things right. Its reputation and unquestionable service now continues with a 4th generation. The Resevich family of funeral homes, 5th Avenue Arnold, and Leechburg Road in Lower Borough.
AKLC Studios LLC is the place for your video and multimedia needs. Let AKLC Studios produce a unique television commercial for your business. At your location or in our studios, we're here to meet your needs. Ever want your own television show? Let us show you how. AKLC Studios LLC can even tape your special events and weddings. Whatever your multimedia need, call AKLC Studios LLC in Leechburg today. Professional quality at hometown prices. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
380 Auction and Discount Warehouse, Route 380, Murraysville.
Automotive supplies, groceries, housewares, pet supplies.
All at discount prices.
Sofas, dining tables, recliners, dressers and desks, lamps and end tables.
All at discount prices.
Yard and landscaping supplies, special catalog orders, mattresses with full warranties.
All at discount prices.
School supplies, tools, paint, toiletries, model cars, toys.
All at discount prices. Get to 380 Auction and Discount Warehouse today, Route 380, Murraysville.
At Tower Auto Sales in Blawnox, you have the luxury of choice. For the last 40 years, the notion has been where you buy your vehicle is just as important as what you buy. Call Mike Fanto and let Tower Auto Sales' experienced sales staff help you with the purchase of your next pre-owned vehicle. Remember the slogan at Tower, just buy it. That's Tower Auto Sales, Freeport Road in Blawnox. Call 412-828-6202.
A little bit of news before we get to the caller. Wandy Rodriguez has been put on the disabled list, or as we like to call it, the convenience list, with swelling in his knee, which is a euphemism for saying he pretty much stinks right now, and they needed to get him out of the rotation. It was the only way they could do it. So they're going to try to work on him a little bit, and you were wanting to know who they were going to start on Thursday, which I guess would be the next time. And Jeff Locke is scheduled to pitch for Indy tonight, so if he pitched tonight, he couldn't pitch Thursday. Brandon Compton is scheduled to pitch Friday, so that would make more sense, and I'm fine with that. I still tell you what, I saw him throw a game in spring training against the Phillies, and he looked great. He had everything below the knees.
Yeah. He's done everything the team has asked of him.
Exactly, and he's kind of a guy that kind of gets that doesn't get his due, I think, from the organization because he doesn't light up the radar gun. But what he does is get people out. And when he was here last year, that's all he did. He pitched important games for them. Pitched an important game, second game of a doubleheader against the Cardinals in August. I mean, it got big there. So they may want to give him a shot now. They're going to need to try to get Wandy straightened out because it's not a guy you just want to release right now because that's depth. Right. I mean, you're hurting for depth. You've lost Tyon. You didn't get Burnett back. And I think that's really been their issue right now is they're not getting anybody out. That's why they're not winning. They're sixth in the league in hitting. Yeah,
the hitting's not been the problem. But we do have a call.
Let's do it. Good evening. You're first in the store.
How you guys doing tonight?
Good,
Great,
Terry. How are you?
Oh, old and tired. Hey, I guess the Indians are stinking up the gym. I guess the Pirates are stinking up the gym. And so I'll start off by talking just a trace about what I saw this morning on a baseball game, the Patriots Day game up in Boston. And it was kind of interesting. I think it was Pedroia that was at bat, did a swing and a miss. The bat flies out of his hands. If the third baseman hadn't moved, it would have hit him perfectly on the fly. It was right at him. I think that's the most accurate throw I've ever seen of a bat, except maybe going back to the pitcher's mound or something. But it was right on the mark. It's kind of fun to see that. Maybe if you're not playing third base, it's fun to see that.
Right.
I remember.
I don't know if you guys heard this or not. It was just on the news half an hour ago that I caught it, relating to the brawl yesterday down in Pirate Land. And Russell Martin challenged the guy from Milwaukee who sucker punched Snyder to a fight in the off season. As Martin put it in the interview, his contract will expire in October, and the new one won't be signed until the wintertime sometime. So he has no restrictions about fighting between those two contract periods, and he challenged this guy to do something in a fight for charity, is the way he put it.
A steel cage match.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Yeah, I've watched that. It's hard to see, even with the zoomed in, to see all the action and what's going on. But from what I could see, right before Snyder got sucker punched, he did nail that guy from behind, the Milwaukee guy from behind. So it might have been two sucker moves.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm pretty sure that you're going to see suspensions for. I think both of the guys that got thrown out are going to be suspended. I don't know if Gomez will be suspended, but I think Snyder will be suspended, and I think Maldonado will be suspended. Mm-hmm. And really, two backups from two teams, so it probably won't hurt much. But it was a good baseball fight. Normally you don't get much except a bunch of dancing around. There was some actual stuff going on.
Patty caking, yeah.
Yeah, there was some actual stuff going on right there. And Carlos Gomez has got a reputation for this kind of stuff. And I already saw Chipper Jones was out on Twitter last night applauding the Pirates for what they did because he's not a big fan. And Gomez had a deal with the Braves last year. So, that's fine. That's all well and good. But, I think Garrett Cole buried the lead a little bit. The point was that the guy hit the ball 395 feet against him. So,
if he doesn't like him standing there looking at at what he hit, then next time he's at bat, plant one in his ribs.
Yeah. Get him out, and if they were in first place by 5 games and they were acting like this, I think I could handle it a little bit better. But I'm a little bit irritated with them right now. So they're act about how they invented baseball now, and they seem to be the keepers of what's good and what's right is kind of interesting.
One of the best baseball brawls I ever saw, Terry and Mike, occurred at Three Rivers Stadium. I'm going to say it was around maybe 82 or 83. The Pirates and the Dodgers engaged in a beanball battle. And it wasn't one of these patty cake and fights where the bench is empty and they stand around. It was actual fighting. There was a pile-up. Steve Garvey was still playing first base for the Dodgers at the time. And when they finally settled them down and got everybody unpiled, Steve Garvey, even though he was at the bottom of the pile, his hair was still in place. I couldn't get over that.
Did that Wally Schlehecken thing working, didn't he? It never a hair out of place. The one I remember was, I think it was 1974. The Pirates were playing Cincinnati, and the Pirates off to a terrible start. Yeah. And they had this enormous brawl against the Reds in the second game of a doubleheader at Three Rivers. I think it was on a Sunday. And I'm pretty sure Doc Ellis was involved. Go figure. And Pedro Bourbon, who was then a relief pitcher for Cincinnati, bit Darrell Patterson, who was a Pirates reliever that was up from the minors for a brief amount of time. And, I mean, it's rare that you have a baseball fight where they're asking a guy if he's had a tetanus shot or not.
Yeah.
and this really happened, and that fight, was a catalyst for the Pirates.
Right.
They picked it up and ended up winning the division in 1974 with not a great record, but they came back and won. That's one. I'm almost sure, George, that in the one you're talking about with the Dodgers, isn't that the one where Chuck Tanner wanted to meet Pedro Guerrero underneath? They went to meet Pedro Guerrero underneath the stands back in the catacombs there at Three Rivers. So there have been a few good ones, but most of them they kind of stand around and look at each other. Mm-hmm. Yesterday's wasn't that kind.
You would think if the bullpen guys really wanted to fight, that they'd fight in the outfield. They wouldn't run the whole way into the infield and stand around.
Just square off out there. Well, nobody's paying attention. There'd be nobody to break them up.
Yeah.
Well, it gives them an excuse to get some of their running in, especially a day like yesterday when they were mostly all called upon at one point.
Yeah, really.
So is Grilly done, or is he just in a bad spot right now?
I think it's a serious question to ask. I think that he's going to what Hurdle can do. Now, the first thing is he's not going to be available tonight because he pitched 2 games in a row. So there's the first little thing. He may give him an extra day just to get him away from it. But what he's going to say is, look, he got beat twice by the same guy, and not everybody has Ryan Braun on their team. Yeah. So he can use that if he wants to. But I got to figure that if it's one more, and if it's one more pretty quick, then they're going to have to at least flip-flop Melanson. And we've talked about this before. The sad part is their 2 worst relievers pitched the 8th and the 9th inning.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And, they're not really the 2 worst ones, but of the ones that come in a game where they're ahead, which normally would be Melanson, Grilly, Watson, Wilson, Morris right now. Those 5 guys are usually the guys they'll use in a game that are ahead. That the 2 that pitch at the end are the 2 that are the shakiest right now. Now, Melanson's pitching fine as far as I can see. And Watson, I think, is terrific. And I think if you were going to make a move, that'd be the guy I'd probably try.
Yeah, and I think the red flag is last year, toward the end of September, it looked like the league was starting to catch up with Melanson.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah, so this is, and a guy that doesn't throw the ball really hard. He throws that cutter, and he's got to be perfect with his control. So, there's an issue with that. And I don't think he's going to bail on Grilly yet. And if he is, he's not going to make an announcement. Mm-hmm. I think you're just going to notice it happen, and he's not going to come out there and say, we're doing this. Because he doesn't want to be, because Clint, when Clint gets to the point where he starts, and it gets this thing. Yeah. And he goes back, and the arms get folded, and he looks high up into the sky, and it's like he's telling you to stop. Because he can be a pretty intimidating guy, and I noticed that a little bit yesterday. Like, look, we gave up 3 solo home runs. It's like, okay, that means he's done. Don't ask any more questions.
Not that I'd ever want him back again, but is Hanrahan still on the market, or did somebody pick him up?
He's pitched last week for a bunch of teams, had a tryout.
Yeah.
And he will. I got a feeling he'll get signed here relatively soon. He's going to be probably about the 1st of June, I think, would be about a year since he's had the surgery. And a lot of teams that are having bullpen issues are looking at him, teams like the Yankees, the Tigers, teams like that have big holes in their bullpen. And he's going to get a job. I would like to have him back. I just don't know that he's going to be closer material right away. I think it may take a couple of years for him to build back into it. Look at Francisco Rodriguez. Who can believe this? The guy only throws the ball like 88 now, and you just wonder if they're living on the edge with a guy like that. But sometimes it takes 2 things, I think, with relievers. After the league figures you out, it's almost like you have to get hurt, go away for a couple of years and come back, or change leagues. I think changing leagues can help.
Yeah, and that may be less effective in the future with more and more interleague games, but you're right.
Yeah, you're right about that, too. I mean, but you still don't see those as much. I think you really see so many games against your division now that's where the problem with Wandy is they kept throwing him out there against these lineups that can crush the ball. He needed a game against San Diego to see if he could get it figured out, And every time he was out there, he was playing Cincinnati or Milwaukee, and it just so happens that these teams can hit the ball, and that's been a problem too here. That there's some pretty good offense in that Central Division.
Plus, he's a left-hander, and the National League Central's just stacked with right-handed.
Look at Cincinnati's lineup. I mean, you really want to throw righties against them, and conversely, no one has left-handed pitching. Yeah. Gabby Sanchez doesn't get to play. Eichel, we haven't had a chance to talk about Ike yet, but Ike will get a chance to play a lot because the Pirates will see a lot of right-handed pitching.
Hey, we got to run for a break pretty soon, Terry.
Sure.
What would you like to do trivia-wise?
Oh, I guess do I qualify for the mystery profile? I think I do.
You do.
Okay, let's try that.
Okay. All right, the mystery profile, of course, is presented to you each and every week by our friends up at Mattio's Pizza and Subs, Broadview Boulevard in Brackenridge Heights, next to District Magistrate Bengal's office. Just great food, and of course, don't forget their signature Iron Man hoagie.
George, I don't know if you were watching. I think you. I know you watch the shows when you're not on. The one that when Terry hit the Matty Lou question out of the park, I happened to have been at the game in question and taking down the $100 prize. So no pressure, Terry.
No,
Okay.
and the funny thing is, I didn't remember it at first. It had to sink in.
Well, I say you start to get up there like we are. You have to get the memory jog sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, here we go, Terry, if you're set. This is your $100 level question. I coached college basketball, played semi-pro football, and made the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I have a guess. Heck. He's an umpire, I think. And I can't think of his name. Jocko Conlon.
Nope, that's not it. Let's go to the $75 level question. I was once a part-time commentator on Montreal Expos baseball games and on the ABC TV Game of the Week.
Don Drysdale.
Oh, was that a good guess?
That's what I said. When Bob asked me the question, that's exactly what I said.
All right. And this one could be Don Drysdale too, but that's not our right answer. Our $50 level question. I played in 6 World Series and was selected to play in 6 consecutive All-Star games.
Jim Lefevre.
Okay. Let's get on to the $25 one. Sorry, Terry. I earned a letter in each of 4 sports while attending UCLA. It's not Bill Walton.
Bill Walton.
And it's not Lou Alcindor.
Nope.
Well, I have no idea.
Well, think of a great athlete from UCLA that played multiple sports.
I pay no attention to college, so
Okay.
Jerry West. No, he went to West Virginia, didn't he, or someplace?
Right.
Anyways, Jerry West is my guess, so I don't know who it
Okay.
is.
Here we go. My jersey number 42 has been retired on all Major League Baseball teams.
Yeah, okay. Jackie Robinson.
All right, you got it.
I am really surprised that he was young enough and alive, I guess, yet, to do Montreal baseball.
Right, that was when the Expos first came in 69, because he died, I think, in what, 72 or 73, I believe?
After the 72 World Series. I remember him being at the game in Cincinnati for that. Quick little story about Jackie Robinson in Montreal, and we have to go to a break. He played for the Montreal Royals in the minor leagues for in the Dodgers organization. When he and his wife went to look at apartments, they were a little bit worried because being black and all, there were issues about trying to find some place to live, and it is a very European-type city in Montreal. The first place they went, they knocked on a door, and they had the newspaper there and said, "You have an ad for a room," and we wondered if we would be considered. And the fellow said, "Come on in," and he said, "You know what?" He says, "You're in. It's yours." And they treated him like royalty up there. And he and Rachel Robinson always had a special place in their heart for the city of Montreal. And that's why he went back to do games for the Expos early on in their existence, because they were always so well accepted up there, and there was never any issues about his color. And that was right after World War II. I mean, that was in the mid 40s. So that's why he had a special place in his heart for the city.
Well, thank you very much, guys.
Hey, thank you. Great call as always, Terry. And we got to run for a break. We're getting too far behind here. We'll be back with more calls right after this.
Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Accidents happen. Are you prepared? You can be with a wide range of homeowners insurance options from Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557. My first book on sports is available not only through the internet, but at various local businesses in the AK Valley. It's Bob Tattern's Sports Minutes. Short sports stories, odd and unusual, fascinating and funny, only take about a minute to read. Go online to doubletripleBob.com, where links are provided for Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Word Association to get book information. Get your copy locally at Costello Printing in Tarentum, Blackburn's in Tarentum, Myrna's Brewery Outlet in New Kensington, or the Hot Dog Guys Lower Borough.
Husqvarna, taming the wild.
Hey, don't forget about my book, Ali Kiski Sports History. It's available now for $19.95 at Costello Printing in Tarentum or online at wordassociation.com. Pick up your copy. Graduations and all are coming up pretty soon, and we're talking about summer coming up. Great book, I think, for a vacation summer read if you're laying on the beach or just relaxing at some point. Ali Kiski Sports History, available for $19.95. Mike?
Good Father's Day one, too.
Yes.
Or Mother's Day, for that matter. We don't want to be discriminatory there, but those are big holidays for books, too. And like you said, summer reading, it's almost time, isn't it?
We're getting there.
We're getting there. All right, we got another caller lined up. Let's do that right now. Good evening.
Hello, it's Mr. Tampa Bay.
Mr.
Hey,
Tampa,
how you doing?
How are you?
Good, I'm doing good. Hey, I got a couple gripes with the Pirates. The way they're pitching the ball, pitching Cole, very Cole. Is that his first name's Cole? Anyway, I think they should have kept him in for the ninth inning. He was doing, should have got a complete game. The way really been pitching lately.
Yeah. You're breaking up on us a little bit there, Tampa. I think what you're asking about Garrett Cole pitching the ninth inning, if I was able to get that. So. And I thought that was kind of the way to go yesterday, too, especially after Grilly had his problems on Saturday night.
And he wasn't struggling either.
No, he wasn't, and he only threw 91 pitches. And I thought Hurl's explanation was lame, because what he wanted to say, but he couldn't say it was, I needed to get Grilly back out there to get him straightened out and to make sure everything would be okay, and it turned out it wasn't. What he did say was he comes up with this lame excuse about, well, he's only been in the big leagues, Cole, 4 or 5 months, and I didn't want him to leave with a black mark. It's like, you didn't seem to think that when you pitched him in the 5th game of the playoffs.
The do or die
when
game.
You jumped him over top of a 15-year-old veteran to pitch the deciding game of a playoff series last year. You weren't worried about his mental makeup at that point. So I thought that was... I thought that was lame, and because he couldn't say what he wanted to say, the real reason was, and that was that he wanted to hurry. It's almost like a guy that, I look at closers like guys that fumble. That you fumble and you want to get them out there and hand them the ball one more time so they don't fumble the next time. Well, 95% of the time they don't fumble the next time, but sometimes you're Isaac Redman and you do. And then where are you? So he fumbled again yesterday is what happened, and now they're kind of in a jackpot.
Well, if they hit fumbles again, I think they need to start looking for another closer, because he does that. He did it last year. He threw 4 games away last year, at least. In the late end.
Yeah, I think closer's got to be 90%, and you got to be 9 out of 10 on a good team. And if you really want to go anywhere, I think you need to be 9 out of 10. Now, look, he's only 4 out of 7, which means he has to save 23 in a row just to get back to even. So think about that for a minute. I mean, you know, it's doable. He can go ahead and he can do that. He can come back and be just fine. I think it's more than just him right now. I think it's everybody. They seem to be in a little bit of a funk right now of, They can't. It's like they're struggling to try to figure out why it's not coming to them as easily as
Right,
it did
they
last year.
just can't get that big out.
No, they can't. They can't get the big hit when they need it, the big out, and it's every aspect of the team, really.
Yeah.
It's if they need the hit, they can't get it. They can't make the. How about the Brewers are one of the worst defensive teams in baseball. They made a handful of great defensive plays over the weekend when they needed one. The third baseman Bianchi yesterday stopping that ball by Josh Harrison down to third base.
Had no business.
That is a great play.
Yeah.
You know, you make a play like that and it wins you baseball games. And the Pirates did that so often last year. And what was the last great play you've seen them made this year? That ball Gomez hit. McCutcheon should catch that ball. Catch the ball, and you don't have to worry about it.
Well, look at Marte. He's leading the league in strikeouts with 43.
Yeah, that's a situation they might have to look into also, getting him out of that leadoff spot. So many times, next thing you know, they got one out already to lead off the game, or if it's later on in the game, they have the 8, 9, and 1 here's coming up. They can't get anything going, and he'll strike out to end the inning. At least if he were putting the ball in play, I'd feel a little bit better about it.
Yeah, me too. I think he's going to be okay, but it's just, you would think that would improve as you got a little bit more experience, but it doesn't look like it's going to with him. And it's the same thing with Pedro. If Pedro would just strike out one time less a week, Pedro's not going to strike out one time less a week. This is what he is, and that's what. And speaking of lineups, how about yesterday? 6 through the pitcher spot. Tabata, Barmes, Stewart, the pitcher. That's
a lot of innings given away.
That's just giving away. That's giving away outs. I mean, you can't. And they wonder why they scored only 2 runs yesterday. That's difficult to overcome. That Chris Stewart's a terrible. If you think Clint Barmes is bad, he was batting 7th yesterday, and there's a reason for that. Yeah. Chris Stewart is horrible at the plate. He's a really good catcher, but you're not going to get anything out of him offensively. He dunked 1 single in yesterday. That's what you're going to see.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad they're on tonight because I won't watch the Penguins. I don't like the Penguins and the way they played. Gave up that 3-0 lead and lost the game in overtime. I think they're going to lose the first series, and I think Baltimore's going to be done.
You could be it. Yeah, that could be it. You could be right.
I think if they lose, I think he will be fired. I think if they lose the first round. And the rumor is that last year that Lemieux had to be talked out of firing him, even though they went all the way to the conference finals.
Yeah.
Now, if they would have lost to the Islanders, I think heads would have rolled also. Yeah. I think they like Shiro. And even though, some of Shiro's stuff hasn't worked out as well as other things have, you're looking at that Scuderi move right now and you're just shaking your head. But, I think they like him enough that since they've changed their scouting system as far as amateurs go, that their drafts have been better. And they've been able to, and Greg Malone's drafts have really cost them right now is a lot of what's going on. So I think they'll go forward with Shiro and they'll let him go. But I think, you hate to fire a guy that's won you a championship. Yeah. But the day comes, and when it comes is when the players stop listening. And I think you see that happening right now. That a lot of games they didn't put out as great effort as they had in the past. And when you start to tune the coach out, you're going to have to. It's easier to. Pip used to say it 1,000,000 times. It's easier to change one guy than it is 25, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, and you see what happens so many times. They try this. They try to be the hockey version of the Harlem Globetrotters. They'll try behind the back passes and passing too often, having some fancy passes on the power play, and just not working.
No, it's not. All right, we got to do trivia here for you.
Yeah,
Tampa, you got anything else?
Multiple choice.
Multiple choice it is. Let's do it. Let's see if we can get you a winner here. What pitcher threw the most consecutive innings without giving up a home run? This is a great question. What pitcher threw the most consecutive innings without giving up a home run? Here are your choices. Bob Feller, Robin Roberts, Virgil Trucks, or Walter Johnson?
Virgil Trucks.
It is not Virgil Trucks. The answer is the great Hall of Famer Walter Johnson, who in 1916 threw 369 2/3 consecutive homerless innings.
That is mind-boggling.
It's the dead ball era,
Yeah,
but still.
I mean, at least you could have had an inside the park home run with the way they built the stadiums back then.
Exactly, but the big train I was reading today is catching up on some reading that the Pirates beat him in a rainstorm in 1925 to win the World Series, a game that they were behind, and Washington had won the championship the year before. The Pirates came back in 25 and beat them, and the great manager of the Buccos was Bill McKechnie, who got a field named after him in Bradenton, Florida. So God bless him. All right, Mr. Tampa, thanks for calling.
Right,
hey, great hearing from you.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, we have another one. They're lined up for us. Okay, well, we're going to do the break first, as I am advised by the good folks in the control room, so we'll do that. We'll take a break. We have a caller. Please stand by. We'll get you as soon as we get back from that. We'll take the break, get to our next caller right after this.
Welcome to Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, the place for big appetites. Their great sandwich selection includes the Geronimo, piled high with generous portions of meat and fixings. Their barbecue ribs are the best in town. Half rack or full rack, they don't come better. Buffalo Bill's wings are everybody's favorite. Uniquely oven-baked, not deep-fried, and yet so crispy. Your choice of 13 flavored seasonings. Grab a bucket for the big game. Eat in or take out, credit cards accepted. Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, Shreveport Road, New Kensington, across from Felderelli Square.
For over 38 years and 3 generations, Arnold Furniture has been the area's favorite furniture store. We have over 4 floors of living rooms, dining rooms, recliners, bedding, carpeting, and so much more.
You'll always find friendly personal service from one of the family.
And our prices consistently beat the competition, plus free local delivery and free setup guaranteed. Visit Arnold Furniture online at arnoldfurnitureinc.com or stop in and see us today.
AKLC Studios LLC is the place for your video and multimedia needs. Let AKLC Studios produce a unique television commercial for your business. At your location or in our studios, we're here to meet your needs. Ever want your own television show? Let us show you how. AKLC Studios LLC can even tape your special events and weddings. Whatever your multimedia need, call AKLC Studios LLC in Leechburg today. Professional quality at hometown prices. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
The luxury of choice, that's what they give you with Tower Auto Sales. Where you buy your vehicle is just as important as what you buy. Let our experienced staff help, and Mike Fanto will help you with that. Tower Auto Sales, just buy it. You can give them a call at 412-828-6202. All right, we're back. We have another call on the line. I believe Mike is standing by. Let's go to Mike right now. Good evening, Mr. Riggs.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're doing. How about you?
Okay, I guess it's just right last night when Braun was coming up, and I said, I got a funny feeling. I said, walk him.
Me too, that's what I said.
And I said, walk
I said the same thing.
You know, I said, walk him.
And I'll tell you what.
Bang.
They used to do it to Bonds.
They especially the West Coast teams, they did it to Bonds for a long time.
They were tired of it. And, I mean,
he was tearing up the league in home runs. I said if I was split, I would have walked him. He'd have walked him. They'd have won that game.
Yeah.
Well, as things turned out, you're 100% right. And I'll tell you what, it didn't cross my mind when he came up. I was still a little bit flustered over the fact that he had pulled Cole in the first place, and Cole had gotten Braun out. But this is what MVPs do. You can talk about all the steroids and everything you want. The guy's a great hitter, and he's really dangerous. And especially when he's on a streak like he's on now, he's really difficult to get out. And especially when he just got the guy the night before.
And he came up and we were on the road, and I told my wife, boy, as much as I hate the phrase "think outside the box," sometimes you got to think outside the box and walk him. And even my wife, and God love her, she give her credit. She says, "Well, can't they give him an intentional walk?"
Exactly.
I said, that's more like
even 4 pitches not in the strike zone. You figure a guy who's really experienced could pull that out.
Or whatever, I mean. But I mean, I knew it. He threw that ball right down the middle of it. I said, "This next one is gone." And I no sooner had it out of my mouth and it was gone. I said, "They should have walked you. They'd have won that game."
Well, Saturday night, we were at Permani's watching the Penguin game, and they had the Pirates on one small TV kind of far away. And who's up now? Braun's up. And I said, and there it goes. Didn't even get it. And there it goes. It's like, oh, you got to be kidding me. It takes all the wind out of your sails.
And neither of those home runs were cheapos either.
No, and for a right-handed batter, you don't hit a cheapo with that one.
He's tearing up the whole league in home runs, walking. He pitched to him. You know what happened.
Don't let him be the guy that beats you.
Can't disagree with you. All right, Mike, let's go to trivia. What do you want tonight?
Okay, multiple choice, maybe.
Multiple choice, okay. Here we go. Here's your question, Mike, and it is the NBA question.
You never give me baseball.
Well, this is a good one, too.
You can do this.
Who was the oldest player to perform in the NBA?
me. No,
Kevin Willis, Reggie Miller, Moses Malone, or Robert Parrish?
Malone, I think, ain't it?
Oh, you're close. It was actually Kevin Willis. He was age 45. Listen to this, 45 years and 363 days old. Now, if he'd have played 2 more days, he would have played on his 44th birthday, or 46th birthday, I should say.
Well, wasn't Willie Mays, let me say this before I leave, wasn't Willie Mays, when he played for the Mets, wasn't he about 43, 44?
Oh, yeah, he was
Well, as a matter
at
of
least
fact,
43.
I heard a thing today that today is Jesse Orozco's birthday, the old pitcher for the Mets, and he pitched all the way up till he was 46 or 47, pitched over 1,200 games. He still holds the record for that. Jesse Orozco's birthday today.
Look at the Negro brothers. I mean, one of them pitched until they were in their 50s.
They were in their 40s.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
I think Phil was closer to 50 when he retired.
He was, yeah. He didn't get his 300th win till he was almost 50 with the Yankees. All right, Mike, thank you.
Good hearing from you, Mike.
Talk to you later. Bye.
All righty. Let's go to the next one. Is this Rich?
Hey, George and Mike, how you guys doing?
Good,
Oh,
Rich.
great. You've come up with a great day for us here. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. I had it all planned out like this weeks ago. I just didn't want to tell anybody about it. Hey, when I look at the Pirates, to me, not the whole thing, but part of the problem is everything that went right for them last year is now going wrong for them this year.
Yeah, you know, remember what Bill Cowher used to say? There's a fine line between winning or losing, and the Pirates are on the wrong side of that fine line right now.
Right. I mean, they were, what was the 54-0 or something when leading after 7 innings or something last year? I mean,
Well,
they were
80-4 when they had to lead after 8 innings last year.
Right. I mean, they were winning all those one-run games. It was amazing how many one-run games they were winning, and now they're losing the one-run games. And it also seems to me that they're constantly, not every game, but they're constantly playing from behind. It just seems like they're constantly trying to play from behind, and then when they finally are able to catch up, they just have nothing left to get over the hump.
Right.
You know, when I look at their lineup the way it is right now, McCutchen is just trying so hard to do everything that he's making it worse. Because right now he's not having a really good year at the plate.
No.
And if you look at Marte, I think Marte has all the talent in the world, but he's too much of a free swinger to lead off. He just strikes out so much.
Yeah.
So you have Marte on one end of your best hitter and Alvarez on the other end of your best hitter who strikes out a ton too. And I just think McCutchen is pressing so much right now to try to do everything that he's just not doing very well at anything.
No, I can't disagree. Yesterday, a bunch of us were watching the game, but I said somebody needs to tell him that right field's not an automatic out.
Right.
Because
absolutely.
He's trying to pull everything and trying to hit it 800 miles, and this is what he does when he's going bad. You talk about guys having track records, and the longer they're in the league, you get a read on what they are, and this is exactly what he does. And he's the quintessential. He pull off everything and roll over and ground balls to the shortstop, and until he hits a ball or two hard the other way, and that'll break him out of it, or a day off, which I don't think would be the worst thing in the world either. I think now, and here's the problem now. You know, they didn't make this trade in the offseason, and he didn't have spring training to play around with the lineup to see how he liked it and to see how this was going to fit. Now you're going to go through the experimentation stage of trying to figure out what do you want your lineup to be.
Right.
And I thought one of the most important things they could have done was to get somebody that could hit leadoff, so you could have moved Marte out of there and moved him down. And if they could have found a shortstop that could lead off or anything, I don't even know, right fielder, whatever. But now he's going to spend the next couple of weeks experimenting with his lineup. And this is kind of not the time you really want to be doing that, because they're on the verge of kind of falling out of the picture here.
Well, that's right. And to me, another huge problem is when you lose a lot of games to a team that's kind of muddling like you are right now. Okay, when you lose a lot of games to a team that's leading the division, you're in big trouble, because now they're 6 games back.
Yeah.
6 games back already.
That's hard.
3 weeks into the season.
It's hard to be 6 games back 3 weeks in.
I mean, that's just amazing. The other thing, Grilly hasn't been the same since he got hurt, obviously.
Yeah.
And he's lost 2 or 3 miles off his fastball. That pitch yesterday to Braun, that's all on him. I mean, that was a hanging slider right in the middle of the plate.
Bad pitch.
I mean,
That's Bob
all on
Pompiani
him.
calling
Why are
them
you even
meatballs?
giving him something to hit?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I don't understand the mentality of, well, look, this guy's killed us, so we're gonna go right at him.
Yeah,
No, you're
make
gonna
him hit a bad pitch at least.
Right. Throw something in the dirt. Do anything. but don't hang the slider right over the middle of the plate and let him crush it.
And the thing about if you did walk him, and he was, he's disciplined enough, he probably would have taken the walk. He wouldn't have got himself out going out of the strike zone. But the thing about the fact that if you did walk him is the reason that you got Chris Stewart. If you had Tony Sanchez back there, he would have just taken second base. Yeah. But now with a catcher back there that is a catch and throw guy that could get you out at second base, they're not gonna steal that base. And you still have a chance to get a double play with the Brewers are so right-handed, George, like you said earlier, and then a right-handed batter coming up next, a chance to get a double play, which could put you out of the ball game. So that was another part of it that I didn't understand. I just don't know why he ever would have saw a strike in that situation.
I don't either. I have no idea. And the other thing with the whole Brewers thing, the fight, whatever, that was all started with that spiking of Jordy Mercer.
Yeah, I think so.
And I understand I get it. It's part of the game or whatever, but that's where it started, and it just kept building and building and building. And I'm sure they were really frustrated for Braun hitting the home run the night before because there's no love lost between them. They don't like each other.
No.
And so, that's just all been building and building, and so finally it just blew up, And Russell Martin today, I don't know if you saw this on Twitter or not, but, he wants to have a charity fight with Maldonado. I mean, this is actually kind of fun. I mean, if they could just beat them, it'd be better.
Yeah.
But it's actually kind of fun to have a
Well, maybe after the season's over and Russell Martin's contract expires and he has the fight with Maldonado and he gets injured, then maybe the Pirates would actually be able to afford him again.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good idea. I would take a leadoff hitter, too, if they could find one. That would be...
See, that's what I mean. I don't dislike their team. I don't dislike the players that they have that they put out on the field. I just don't. And we sat down the other night between one of the periods of overtime trying to figure out what a good lineup would be. And the question that it all came back to was, who's playing right field?
Yeah. He's sitting in AAA right now.
I think, so that becomes the next question. The next question is, when are you going to pull the trigger on that so then you can actually put your lineup together the way that you want it? Yeah. Because now, obviously, they're giving Tabata a chance, and we all know how this is going to end. Yeah. It's going to be the same as it's been the last 5 years that they've given him a chance to play every day. It's not going to work.
Well, don't you think if Polanco comes up, he's in the leadoff spot? I think he is.
Maybe. They did it with Bonds, and they knew Bonds wasn't going to be their long-term answer at leadoff, but I also think they think that about Marte, that they started him there. And, and then maybe you slide everybody down a spot. Or I had heard that they were pretty much considering they were going to bat him 2 after Marte, put him ahead of McCutchen, so he'll see some pitches to hit, and they're going to bat him second to start off with. The speed at the top of that lineup would just be almost ridiculous. And then, you see what happens there, because now that you have like Davis, you have somebody for lower down in the lineup. Martin could hit 5th maybe, Davis could hit 6th. And you start to see how your lineup is forming into a pretty good, and I mean that puts Walker at 7th. Now you see where you're going with this thing.
Right.
You have a formidable lineup now that you're going to something to be able to work with. They just need to start getting people out.
Well, and the other thing is, like you mentioned, Walker. He's leading the team in home runs. Yeah, because nobody else is getting on base. Nobody gets on base in front of him. I don't know if
that game in Cincinnati
has somebody on base.
Yeah. Last Monday night where they had all those solo home runs.
Oh, the beer league softball game.
It was. That's exactly what it was. The only good thing about that game is that we ended up winning it. Yeah. That's the only thing I could, that was Wandy throwing him up there underhanded.
Well, they're going to have, he has to obviously make a big decision with this closer spot. Because everyone says throw Justin Wilson there. I don't think Justin Wilson can handle it. He walks too many guys. You can't walk guys in the 9th inning.
Right.
And I don't know, Melanson.
Well, it's not going to be Justin Wilson because they don't even trust him to put him in from the 7th inning on in a game that they're winning. Yeah.
Maybe
so you start with that right there.
Maybe you flip-flop Watson and Grilly.
I like Watson. I could see giving Watson a shot. I think if they make a move right now, they'll go to Melanson. I think they will, and I think they've just flipped those 2 guys and then see how that works.
Because if you put Watson in, the other team will just load you up again with right-handed batters.
Here's what we need, and this is simplistic, and this is coach speak. But what we need is that for the next time they have a lead in the 9th inning and they hand Grilly the ball, he gets the job done, and we'll just move on to the next day.
Yeah,
that's really where you are right now, because I really don't think that it's like you don't. It was like the move of pulling Fleury in the playoffs last year. Yeah. You had to do it, but you knew once you did, you were toast.
Yeah.
Right.
You knew once you did that you had to do it, and you knew you had to do it, but you knew you didn't want to. It's the same thing here. You just don't want to. So.
And very quickly, because I know you got to get going. Here's one stat that all you need to know for this series against Columbus: 23-5 turnovers. Penguins 23, Columbus 5.
And that's from the home team. And that's from the home team counting him, because if they counted all the ones that Sid had, he'd have 23 himself.
Yeah.
Remember when this used to be a team that was hard to play against because they possessed the puck so much?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gone.
Yeah, those days are gone.
All right, Rich, let's do a question.
Can I do the Grand Salami?
There you go.
You can, pick one. 1 through
3.
5. What was that?
Number 3.
Number 3. Let's do it, Rich. Here we go. Let's see if we can give away a good one here. What major leaguer hit the most home runs without ever hitting a walk-off homer? What major leaguer hit the most total career homers without ever hitting a walk-off homer?
All right, I got one name that just went to the top of my skull, and it's Eddie Murray.
That's a great question and a great answer, but not it. We have a first baseman from the 1960s from the Detroit Tigers, Norm Cash. Hit 377 career homers without a walk.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And that was a good hitter. There's a guy that had his 1 year of hitting in the 330s and never hit 300 the rest of his life.
Yeah, he had, 361 in 1961?
First year of expansion, I believe, is when it was. And he was a heck of a player on those great 70s or late 60s Tigers teams. All right, Rich,
guys,
thanks for calling. Appreciate it. All right, we're going to go to a break now. And George, you got to hit the road here. You have a meeting. You guys said you've got the tie on, so I know you got something official to do. So we'll see you again next week.
Great
Thanks.
being with you. Yeah.
All right, Paul will come and finish up with me here. So let's take our last break of the night, and we'll be back.
This is where you get the absolute freshest deli meats and cheeses. Fazio's Italian Deli in Arnold. At Fazio's, you're getting only the best and freshest selection. Fazio's has its own bakery and offers you fresh baked bread, rolls, pastries, and more. Pick up individual salads to go, Italian sausages, hoagies, custom-made sandwiches, even party trays for your next get-together. Freshness and quality every time at Fazio's Italian Deli, Leishman and Dre in Arnold.
There once was a hungry road that wouldn't let drivers get very far. It wore out their tires, forcing them to buy new ones. Then along came the Michelin Man who proved the right tire changes everything. With long-lasting tires in place, those drivers were back on the road to saving money. Drive longer with the Michelin Defender tire, backed by a 90,000-mile limited warranty. Michelin, a better way forward.
Available at Highland Tire under the bridge in Tarentum and Freeport Road, Natrona Heights. Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Westmoreland provides a full range of coverage for all of your automobile needs. Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557.
Our Sportsline Mystery Profile, as always, is sponsored by Mattio's Pizza and Subs in Brackenridge Heights. Everything on the menu made with quality ingredients, and that's the reason people proudly pass the word about their great food. Mattio's Pizza and Subs has it all, including their signature Iron Man hoagie, which made a special guest appearance here on Sportsline a couple weeks ago. Mattio's located at 1000 Broadview Boulevard in Brackenridge Heights. You can give them a call at 724-904-7312. Okay, let's set the line up here. We have one call, and we have Paul in the audience, so I want to get you both in. I'm going to give each of you a couple minutes, and we'll be able to do that. We have Mark on the line. Mark, good evening. You're up.
Good evening, Mike. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Not bad. Isn't it? I'm changing the subject from baseball to wrestling, even though it's not whatever. About the Ultimate Warrior.
Yes.
Passing away. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame on Saturday, and had a heart attack Tuesday or Wednesday the following week?
Yes.
Had he been in bad health, did they say? Or?
Well, they said it was heart disease, and they did the and he pretty much knew what was going on. Because
okay.
I don't know. Did you see the speech on Monday Night Raw after?
Yeah, I taped the WWE Hall of Fame
right, and he
show,
gave the speech, and that was a definite goodbye speech there, and he knew that he wasn't well. And
okay.
and I wonder if the folks at the WWE also knew that, and that's why they finally let got rid of the deep freeze and thawed the relations between the two sides, and actually put him in the Hall of Fame. But he was something else back in his time, and the timing of it was just a little bit too weird.
Was he ever connected, they thought, with steroids too, or no?
I'd say yes, and I think that's pretty much a known fact. And I'll tell you what, he still looked like he was in pretty good shape, but outwardly, just looking at him, not knowing what was going on with his heart or anything like that. But I guess he just walked into his car the next day in Phoenix with his wife and just dropped over.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I heard it on the radio. I said, man, I just watched the.
I saw him I seen him yesterday. That was so sad.
And, okay, and then a boxing question. How good was, I know he's way older than us, but Hurricane Carter, was he a real hurricane or just a windstorm?
Great question. I didn't see him fight much. I just know that he was, he was in jail for a long time for a murder that he didn't commit. I know that much. And I know I remember when I was a kid watching him fight that they would have fights at the prison, and he would actually do some fighting there. But he was a cause celeb too, so a lot of times you don't know how much of the political aspect of it goes into how good of a fighter he was. And I think the fact that he was in jail, in prison, had stunted his career to the point where you just don't know how it would have worked out if he would have been able to fight.
I didn't remember the whole story. Was he still he hadn't retired when he was convicted or charged with murder?
Yeah, he still fought in prison, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
They would actually, they set up a couple of fights while he was in prison, so.
No, I mean, he was still fighting before he was arrested professionally. He hadn't retired then, regular professional ranks?
Yeah, he definitely fought professionally, and
okay.
I'm not sure about his entire record, but that was. All right, Mark, we got to get to a question here real quick.
Okay, a multiple choice. And I know you're in rush for time.
You
now, okay?
are eligible, also. Haven't heard from you in a couple weeks. Here you go.
Well, my wife's been sick, and we've been busy off and on.
Hopefully.
I did enjoy the Rose's Pizza, though. I'd won the certificate and went up there Thursday.
Okay, Mark, here we go. What NBA team was the first to beat the Boston Celtics in 12 straight games in 1995? The Atlanta Hawks, the New York Knicks, the LA Lakers, or the Portland Trail Blazers? First team to beat the Celtics 12 consecutive games.
I'm not good at Portland Trail Blazers?
That is not it. We're not having very much luck tonight. It was the New York Knicks. Beat them 12 times in a row in 1995. Mark, thanks for calling.
Okay, you guys have a good week. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and we'll talk to you again. Thanks.
Okay.
All right, we have Paul in the audience. Paul, we got a couple minutes for you here to let you in. What do you got tonight?
How was your Easter?
My Easter was great, as a matter of fact. I ate too much, but we'll get by. There was a lot of food going on. We kind of did the 2-dinner thing, and that makes it difficult, but we'll get by. Plenty of leftovers, too.
Yeah, I always like Easter because there's no NASCAR.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, they do take it off. They're a very religious group, that NASCAR.
And Mother's Day they don't.
Right.
And
you're right.
I think the Penn's Columbus is going 7 games. I thought it would go 6, but it might go 7.
I had picked it at 5, which means the Penguins need to get stepping on it here tonight. But 6 or 7 is a possibility right now. I just don't know what to make of. And this is all about the Penguins, too. And that's really the key. A team like Columbus is going to come. They're going to play, much like the Islanders did last year.
Right.
And they're going to show up and do their thing. But this is all about the Penguins and what the Penguins are bringing to the table as far as, getting together and playing. And we talked with George about it last week and earlier tonight, was that, the Pens had so many injuries and guys out of the lineup and guys in the Olympics, and we're resting this guy here and this guy there, that they weren't a cohesive unit coming in, and it's really hard to become a cohesive unit in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're just tired,
And that's what they're about. What do you think of the Hawks and the Blues so far? That's a bloodbath.
Yeah, right. The way it should be. And don't count Tampa Bay out either, because no lead is safe, whether it be the score or the series.
As long as you still got to drop the puck. All right, Paul, let's do trivia.
Okay, I'll take salami number 1.
Salami number 1 it is. For Paul. We're doing good on time. We'll get this in.
Okay.
What Hall of Famer hit a home run in each of the 3 games of the 1969 National League Championship Series, his only NLCS appearance?
What year was that, 1969?
1969 NLCS, this Hall of Famer hit a home run in each of the 3 games played.
NLCS. Dave Kingman?
It is not. It is Henry Aaron. With the Atlanta Braves, they played the Mets. They lost 3 straight, but Aaron hit a home run in each game, so you can't say he didn't come up big, and he came up big in the World Series in 1957 also.
All right. Okay, that's all I have, and
Paul,
have a good day.
Appreciate you coming by and filling up some of the time. We got to go. Josh and Bill in the control room, thank you, as always, for keeping things afloat. Thanks to George for being here. George will be here again with us next week. Bob will have the week off, so we'll get into that. We'll have more Penguins, more Buccos, and more of that. So that'll wrap it up. For George Guido, this is Mike Pavlik saying so long, everybody.
Thank you for watching Sportsline, brought to you by Ace Hardware, New Kensington, AKLC Studios in Leechburg, Arnold Furniture, 5th Avenue, Buffalo Bills, New Kensington, Fazio's Deli and Meats in Arnold, Highland Tire, Toronto and Natrona Heights, Mattio's Pizza and Subs, Brackenridge Heights, Resevich Family Funeral Homes, Lower Borough in Arnold, 380 Discount Warehouse, Murraysville, Tower Auto in Blawnox, and Westmoreland Insurance Services of New Kensington.